is Audrie Ford, and are the judges ready? On the timer? All right. Now, in my house, we've recently taken custody of my two younger cousins. Allie and Noah are twins, and they're both 2 years old, just this last January. Now, this is a big change for our house because our youngest previously was 12 years old. So it's been a long time since we've had a baby in the house, and none of us three kids have really had to deal with babies. But we're learning that the twins have a favorite sentence: I do it. Whenever you try and help the twins do something, their immediate response is always, I do it. They want to climb into their high chairs on their own. They want to get dressed on their own. They even want to pick out their own outfits. Sometimes it results some pretty funny results because they don't understand color coordination, or you shouldn't wear plaid with polka dots. But Allie and Noah are learning in the instances that we let them do things that it would be safe for them to do. For instance, we don't let them run out into the street on their own, even if they don't want to hold our hand because they think they can do it on their own. But we do let them feed themselves. So there are instances where they're allowed to do it by themselves. But we also have to make sure we're monitoring what they're doing. And this really does link into the Abraham Lincoln quote I've been given today, which reads, the worst thing you can do for those you love is the things they could and should do for themselves. Now, as we examine this quote, we're going to be looking into one main idea, that we should let those that we know learn from their own actions, mistakes, and successes. And we're going to be examining this thesis in two main points. The first point will be why we should not enable those that we know. But the second point is going to be the difference between helping somebody and enabling somebody. Now, let's look to the first point, why we should not enable someone. Now, enabling someone really means doing something for them that they could very easily do by themselves, such as helping somebody do homework that they already know how to do themselves. You shouldn't sit down and do the homework for them, but you can help them. Because in the long run, if you just do it for them or you let them cheat off of you, they're never going to learn. And that's really why enabling is such a bad thing. That person is never going to learn. There is a cause and there is an effect for everything, and they need to understand that their actions are going to have effects. And if they're going to be negative, people aren't always going to be there for them to cushion the blow. In the story A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, one of the characters has to learn the hard way that his actions have hard decisions. His name is Charles, and for a long time, Charles Evremond, or Darnay, was an aristocrat, the son of a very wealthy French family, and he always had the belief that he could really do whatever he wanted. He was an aristocrat and he had a lot of money. This was proven later on in his life when he believed he could just walk on into revolutionary France, rescue his tax collector, and bring him back to England where he would be safe from the French revolutionists. Charles had the belief that he could do whatever he wanted. People were going to be okay with it. He was a good guy. Nobody was going to be upset. But he didn't understand that there were consequences for his actions. He just had the belief he could get away with everything, and that's because when he was little, he was raised in the aristocratic mind of enablement. Basically, he could get away with whatever he wanted just because of his status in life. And that led to problems not only for himself, but his family, because they had to rescue him from the effects of his faulty decisions. He was enabled, and that led to problems not only for himself, but for everybody in the long run. Now, we can also see this in a very simple example of animals. Now, they may not be people in that they have the conscience of right and wrong, but animals do learn cause and effects. My parents adopted a little dog at the beginning of their marriage, and this dog had never been housebroken, never even been inside of a house, and had been chained to a tree for about 2 years. But she quickly learned there were going to be effects for all of her actions. She wasn't being enabled. They weren't just letting her get away from things because she didn't understand. There were rules, and she had to obey them. And that's really what the heart of letting someone learn from their actions, mistakes, and successes mean. It means we don't come in there and we do everything for them like a pampering parent, but we step back and let them make their own decisions, and then let them learn from those decisions. Because someday, we're not going to be there for them. Charles Darnay's parents weren't there for him when he went and made those decisions that hurt his wife and his daughter. And the dog's parent, or their own previous owners, weren't there when the dog started doing things that in the past it had been allowed to do. We need to be able to learn from our own decisions, our own mistakes, and our own successes. But there's a difference between enabling someone and helping someone. And that difference has to be very clear. Otherwise, maybe we're going to let someone do something that we know is wrong without stopping them. My Uncle Neil, from a very young age, was a problem child. He didn't like going to school, he didn't want to study, he didn't want to eat certain vegetables just because they were green. But his parents didn't just step back and let him do whatever he wanted. No, they had rules. They had to help him study, they had to help him because he didn't fully understand a lot of subjects. But helping him wasn't enabling him. Enabling him would just be doing everything for him, but through helping him, he learned how to succeed in life, and he learned how to graduate high school with some good grades. So what we can see is that, yes, people should be allowed to learn from their mistakes, their successes, and their failures. And the worst thing you can do for those you love is the things they could and should do for themselves, but we also must make sure we help those that we love so they do make wise decisions. Thank you.